We're going to go into our next segment, baby. What we got?
We have our MRI, which is marriage and relationship interventions. Now, this week we're talking about building trust in a relationship, not necessarily a marriage, but overall in a relationship. And we're going to talk about three things. We're going to break them down. But first, the diagnosis is mistrust issues. The prognosis is unhealthy relationship. And the results are betrayal. So let's talk about the diagnosis of mistrust issues here. Now, it's said that why is trust one of the most written about and researched topics? Simply put, because many of us have been betrayed. And that's sad to say, but it's true. Now, I don't know if you guys knew that betrayal have two parts to it. One, a violation of a spoken or unspoken agreement, and two, a resulting injury. So how can trust be repaired and rebuilt? So I'm going to go around the table. Since we diagnosing this,
Okay.
What do you think, Tracy?
How can trust be rebuilt?
And repaired?
I think total honesty. You know, you got to be honest with each other. And I'm assuming that, you know, the issues with breaking down of a marriage. So you got to have some total honesty involved. You got to build up some things that would put the trust back in. You know, and we've talked about it on the show before, such as, you know, allowing that person to know where you are and have access, you know, to your phone. I don't know if I agree with all that, but have access to your phone and checking in, you know. So it's just a matter of building.
You got access to your phone.
Yeah, he on my phone, y'all. You know, so you've got to reassure that person again that you are on the straight and narrow path.
Okay, what you think, Mr. McCann?
You know, one of the things I got to say, number one, is that you have to accept that there was some mistrust in a relationship. A lot of times when people have a mistrust, one or the other person, especially the one who has caused the mistrust, doesn't want to accept that they take ownership that they've caused an issue. And so what you've got to do is work together with that issue to make sure first that you both agree that there was some mistrust in relationship. The other thing you got to do is not point a finger. Because once you start pointing a finger at the individual and letting them know you were the one that caused the issue, then it only puts that requirement back on that individual. If you're going to be in a relationship with each other, you can't point the finger at who caused the issue. It's better that you work on resolving the issue because you already know who caused the issue. So saying, Brenda, you caused my mistrust only says that I'm putting you at fault and I'm not accepting any responsibility of working out the situation to make it a better relationship going forward. So you've got to be able to not point the finger. And the third thing is you have to do is that you've got to learn how to take baby steps, I would say. You cannot sit there and just think it's going to happen overnight. There's going to be some times you're going to fall. There's going to be some issues that come back up that's going to remind you of it, like the lady talked about earlier. It's going to take a process. And so you got to learn how to go through the process and realize there's going to be some situations that you might fall back. As the song says, we fall down, but we get up. You've got to be willing to understand that there's going to be a process where you fall, but you can still get back up and move further with God.
Okay, well, I'm loving all of those. Let's move on to the prognosis then. The prognosis is an unhealthy relationship. This could be marriage and a regular relationship. So with that, I'm not just talking about infidelity in a marriage, but in a regular relationship or in a marriage, you have some unhealthy issues that comes from breaking promises. You always promise you're going to do something and you never deliver on your promise. You have that person that lies all the time. You know, a lot of people think, isn't a promise and lying the same thing? Totally different. You have the person that always say, I'm going to, should have, could have, and get the lies ready. So with this prognosis we're talking about with the unhealthy part, what do you think are some other things that could make a marriage or relationship unhealthy?
Other things could make things unhealthy to me is that the ability to set limits. Sometimes what we do as an unhealthy thing is that we set a limit. It has to be done at this time. Well, that's a limit that that you're doing that may cause an issue because it may not happen at that period of time. So you can set unhealthy limits or what I'm trying to say the word unexpected limits. I'm sorry, I can't say anything right now. Expectations. Mm-hmm. Your limits. You put limits on yourself, and you shouldn't do that. And so when you put limits on when that time frame, somebody might say, if you don't do this in 6 months, I'm leaving. Well, it may take a year. It may take 2 years. If you're going in the right direction, then it's okay. So you can put those limits on things that can cause issue. And the other thing I can just say is that you've got to realize that trust does not have the word miss in front of it. So that means you've got to let it go. Whatever happened in the past, you've got to let it go to move forward. I know it's still there, but if you hang on to it and everything that person does, you're still mistrusting, you've got to give that person the ability to gain trust. Mm-hmm. And so when you say trust, you can't put the word missed with it because it's not mistrust, it's learning to trust.
And Tracy, before you jump in, I want to say, when a person is in a relationship and say, I want this to work, I want to trust my partner, I want to trust my spouse, you have to mean that, because like Rick has said, you don't even give them the benefit of the doubt. You already even put the limitations on it and say you got 6 months. So wow, you're giving me 6 months to undo something that I've done to rebuild trust with you. And a lot of people feel like, well, I wasn't the one that led to the relationship to have mistrust issues, so why do I have to be the one being accountable? But it really does take you more so than that person, because no matter how hard they're trying to build that relationship back up, if you're not willing to let them try to do it and work with them, it's not going to work.
Yeah. You know, I want to kind of go a different, what did you call it, a relationship tear down?
Repair and rebuild.
Yeah. You know, one thing, and I was talking to somebody earlier about this, sometimes we tend to sabotage our relationships.
Girl, yeah.
And a lot of times that happens when we're not comfortable with ourselves, when we're afraid to get back. So for instance, you know, being divorced, you know, sometimes you're afraid to get back into a relationship, so you tend to sabotage those relationships by saying, ooh, it's not going to work anyway, so let me hurry up and jump out of it. Or he going to cheat on me anyway, so let me leave, you know.
Good.
So, you know, that's something I've been talking about for a few days with people, is sabotaging your own relationship.
Okay. And so the results of all of this, I'm looking at, you're betrayed, not just because of infidelity, but you're betrayed of the expectations that you held for that person. But the thing is, bottom line, that person probably, most people look for happiness within a person instead of the joy within themselves. And we know you only get the joy from God. But a lot of people look at, oh, Rick, I'm not happy. You're not making me happy. So anything that goes wrong with me, I'm going to blame Ricardo. And it's like,
What you do? Go ahead.
Shh, we got guests in here. They don't need to know that.
Oh, they already bad.
We done corrupted them already.
Right.
But bottom line, that was our MRI. And do you have anything for results that you think?
You know, I think that one of the results is just being steadfast. As I said before, it's just you get to the right results if you just stay steadfast and believe that all things are possible in Jesus Christ, and by you bringing Christ in the middle. One of the things we must say is that this is a Christian radio show, and we believe in bringing Christ into all things. And so bring Christ into the middle and allow Christ to develop you into the person that was once had mistrust, or someone who's did something wrong that you don't trust anymore, that you can develop that strong, powerful relationship. Not only that you build a trust that's very strong, but you can go out as well and talk to other people to help them about going through mistrust issues. So just stay steadfast.
Man, I actually agree with Rick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at the sinner.
And I think that we so often give up so easily on relationships.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Rick. Stay steadfast and don't just give up so easily.
Yeah.
Girl, but he betrayed and hurt me.
That's all right. You know,
That's all right that he beat me down like that.
Not beat you, but you
This
know.
is
mentally
this is the
down.
comments of Brenda McCain, and not necessarily anything
think
that
that-
Rick McCain has done in any form
Right.
or
This
fashion.
don't gotta, well, I'm not even being Brenda McCain. I'm being
Okay.
Betty Shabazz.
Okay,
right
we'll
now.
be that.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, if it's what God has put together, that it can definitely be repaired.
Amen.
Okay, then. Well,
You know,
that
I don't
is-
say that often.
No, you sinner. That is our MRI. I'm going to go over it one more time. Diagnosis was mistrust issues. The prognosis was unhealthy relationship. And the results, I had betrayal because I was going back. You guys said stay steadfast and you're going to make this relationship work.
All right, that was great. So where we going now?